I always do silly, stupid stuff anyway, but, would it be wrong of me to just start screaming, Duval? Isn't that what we do?
That is what we do.
Isn't that what we do?
Yes, sir. That's exactly what we do.
There we go. All right. Duval in the house. Preston Pearson, how are you?
I'm doing good. Feeling good.
Fight early. How do you get through the next?
Keeping my mind right. I'm still going to be moving around, spending some time in the cage, just get kind of used to being in there. But diet, the water process, that's what the next few days are looking like until Saturday, and then the game plan for that day.
Now, have you already told Dana Jacksonville, let's do this? Now that I'm here, we need to be there.
I think I need to dominate this fight first, and then I might be able to put a bug in his ear.
All right, so I guess the two of you are acquaintances on Facebook.
Yes.
So, when we got the list, he told me one or two things. So I don't know if this is true. Are you a Rocky Balboa guy?
100%. That's one of my motivations.
So, listen, one thing we like to do on this show.
So I brought my toy.
Oh, man. Better keep that thing put away.
I got a bunch of them. So I just brought it. I love Rocky.
But one thing we like to do is not ask you the same questions as everybody else.
I'm going to keep it far away because I don't want to.
And we always kind of joke that people will ask and go, "Hey, how was fight week? How was training camp?" Like you're going to ever answer that correctly anyway. So but where the Rocky stuff concerned, we said, right, let's talk about Rocky. Which is the best Rocky movie? Because we were talking about this and we've kept it until you came on. Which is the best Rocky movie?
So I've gone through phases in my life of which one I thought was the best. But now that I'm a little bit older, the first one and the second one are the best.
Okay.
It's hard to pick between the two.
I know what you're going to say.
As a kid, the fourth one was my favorite.
Absolutely.
What's your most hated?
The fifth. That's still not a bad movie. It's still a good movie. It's still worth watching.
Do you want to ask the question?
Which one's your favorite?
5.
5?
Yeah. 5 is my favorite. My ringtone is from 5.
That's awesome.
My ringtone is "You knock him down once you try knocking me down."
Yep.
Now I was born in Philly, so I've been on that street. I love 5. I love the street fight. Mom, Dad's on TV and he's fighting. I love that.
Like I said, it's still a great movie, but that's the best movie of all time is 1 and 2.
Oh, for sure.
But number 5, I would say is lowest on my list. But it's still, like I said, it's definitely worth watching. It's one of my favorites.
Well, he came in here thinking he was going to talk about Saturday. And
I know, this is it. But like being a fighter, listen, I fought as a kid, and like literally, you would watch Rocky with my dad on the night, and in the morning I was in the gym, like literally punching it literally had that effect on me. It had effect on everyone else. Is that something that led you into being a fighter in the first place? Just what in that rush?
100%. That's actually I get the same thing. At the time when I watched that movie, because there's certain montage, the training montages come on. I got to get up and do something.
All right. So have you been to Philadelphia?
I have not.
All right. So we need to do that.
Yes, sir.
You need to do the tour. Now, some of the things that we all know about, you run the steps and Rocky's there. We've been there at like 2 a.m. I'll show you these photos later. I'm on top of Rocky and, all that stupid stuff. But there is grave sites at a real cemetery for Adrian and Paulie.
Really?
Now, Paulie just recently died, but there is 2 real grave sites there. I've gone to the houses. You go to do all. If you're a Rocky,
chair stuck up in the tree.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh my.
What's your favorite scene of any movie? Obviously, I've already told you mine.
The second one, whenever Adrian starts watching at the very end, and he's just taking a beating and can barely stand, and there's just something emotional about that movie, but all around. But that part, I'd say during the fight at the end of the second. And then obviously the double knockdown, who got up 1 second sooner to win the fight.
All right. So now I need to ask just so I know if we're going to go have a really good time. Okay. Because we need to do this and I'll set it up. We may even drive the limo from Tampa and we'll have the limo up there. If I take you to the church, will you get out of the car and scream for Father Carmine?
100%. I'll try to word it like him too.
So listen, but going to the fights, if you do you allow yourself to get a bit, is there we talk about like a switch that happens maybe on Thursday, Friday, or maybe even Saturday, or it may even just be while you're in the dressing room. Do you get emotional? Do you get quiet? Do you get annoyed? Do you get angry? Do you get focused? How do you, what's that 10 minutes like before the walk?
I get quiet. There's not much more to be said. Everything, the training was already put in. There's not maybe some last minute advice. Obviously, I'm still coherent, so I'm hearing what people are saying to me.
Sure.
But I like to be quiet. I like to be serious. I don't like any emotions at all.
Yeah.
My best fights have been not emotional, but as I'm walking to the cage, I feel like I'm ready to get into a car crash. I'm ready to get in there and do some damage. I'm okay if I take damage. Definitely a flip that switches, but it's not necessarily an angry or emotional or anything like that. Because for me personally, emotions don't do me so well.
No,
I like the reference to a car crash over, like, I hate, we'll either get to like each other or not. I hate the war. I'm going to war. As a veteran, you're not going to war. There are no bullets.
Funnily enough, the reason when you bringing that up, I was just about to ask that whenever, like, I used to train, even still to this day now, I don't train as much now because I'm now fat. But when you get a Rocky IV soundtrack on, War by Vince DiCola, which is one of the big instrumentals, it's just this thing. You literally walk. I could see myself going, if I ever fought in the UFC, I would use that as my walker. It's so cliched, I know, but there's something about that gets you into it. So I don't mind that War reference.
I don't like the reference.
Okay.
I've even confronted some fighters. My one of my big pet peeves, and it's supposed to be about you. I don't like when fighters use flags as capes.
Right.
Because the flag is supposed to, mean something. And then I've confronted one former Bellator fighter who his corner rolled it up and threw it in the spit bucket.
That's one thing. I have walked out with a flag prop a few times. And that's one thing I make sure that my corners are veterans as well.
Oh, I can tell. Yeah, we've already connected.
Yeah, and so they know better.
I need to ask though, what branch?
Something about the core.
What branch?
The best branch, Army.
Just because more people have been in the Army. I just recently went to the Navy-Army game. It's not the Army-Navy.
Were you Navy?
Yeah.
I respect all you guys.
No, well, you don't have to respect Air Force and Coast Guard because they don't count. See? Right. So as you're walking to the cage, are you just like flowing there? Or are you thinking? Are you trying not to think? Are you thinking music?
So I do a lot of visualization. I do a lot of running, and that's when I do most of my visualization. So I don't just visualize the fight. I visualize the walkout. I visualize the getting in the cage, the moments where before the bell rings, because that's what really that's a part of the dream. The dream was originally just walking out in the UFC is a huge deal. So I don't want to let that get to me. So I visualize it 100 times. So whenever I am making that walk, it feels like I've done it 100 times already. So I'm more relaxed in that sense, and it helps me to stay calm and to just focus and to remember I'm not here to have fun. I'm here for one reason. It's a business trip. Get in there and do some damage, and that's my mindset going.
What's the MMA scene in Duval? In Jacksonville.
It's growing quickly. We have Kuba Kashuba just won the European lightweight championship. We have Trey Waters, one of the best fighters in the world, UFC welterweight. We have Austin Lane, heavyweight in UFC now. We have Ramon Tavares fighting next weekend. He's also in the UFC. So over the past 2 years, we have 5 fighters in the UFC, and we've been training for 15 years together now. There was no UFC fighters in Jacksonville when we first got started. Over the past 2 years, now there's 5 of us. And I'm proud to say that I was the first one from Jacksonville to make it to the UFC. Not that I opened the door for anybody else. These guys were going to get there on their own either way, because they're the reason I'm here. They're just as skilled as I am, if not better.
She can never take away when you're the first.
Right, but no, it is something I'm proud of. So that's something I can always say.
Was the change of opponent is that a real bind, or do you just focus on your fight and not really care, or was it a case of picking the opponent apart? That opponent falls out. You have to start picking this opponent apart. How do you kind of approach the person in front of you?
I think this is a better matchup for me stylistically.
Mm-hmm.
Basel was definitely a tough grappler. It is a total different style change.
Yeah.
Going from fighting a grappler to a striker. But I train everything every day. I'm not just a grappler. I'm not just a striker. I'm not just a jiu-jitsu guy. I'm a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we definitely we made some adjustments to the game plan.
Yeah.
What we're setting up, what feints we're going to throw, looking for different reactions out of the guy. But I was already in shape. I was already ready for a tough, grinding fight, because the guy I was going to fight was a grappler, and those are the rounds that really wear you
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I've had guys
sure.
just hugging my legs for hours getting ready for this fight. So my conditioning's definitely going to be there. And if he does try to take me down, I'll be more than prepared for that.
You know what? The one thing I've noticed, and I don't want to say how old I am, but I covered UFC 1. Okay, so literally, I've covered this sport longer than anybody in the country.
That's so cool.
And what I like is when I watch a fighter, whether it's his first fight, we've got two guys that have more than 2 fights coming up. I'm not saying 2 for you. I'm just saying they're sitting at 58 and 54. They've been around a long time. I love when I see a guy and you've smiled more times. It's like you love this.
Well, this is a part of the journey. This is what I've worked. It's still all. I love this stuff. This is what I love doing.
Seeing he's smirking and smiling. I love it. It puts, they call me the grouchy guy. I go to Disney World with my granddaughter. I wear the grouch shirt, and I'm that guy. I'm in a good mood just watching you.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Well, energy. It's good to have good energy fight week, and that's why I'm feeling great for this fight. I'm feeling very confident. I'm good energy. I'm surrounded by good people.
I can tell. They're like bobbleheads up there. Ask your typical question about after Saturday.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I'm just gonna say they're there for me no matter what.
Sure.
These guys didn't even have to be here today, but they decided they wanted to be here for me. So
Amazing. Goes to ask you guys, what does Sunday look like for you? Win, lose or draw, however the fight has gone for you, what are you looking forward to? What's the first thing you know what I mean? Is it a beer? Is it a burger, or is it a steak, or do you not do any of that stuff?
I'm looking forward to waking up Sunday morning. In the past, I've made the mistake after hard fights going to drinking.
Sure.
The main thing I want after a fight is to refuel. I want some water. I want some herbs. So,
Yeah.
I have made the mistake of drinking too much after a fight. It just makes you feel like crap.
Yeah.
So
are you constant of just your thing?
Yes, I own a gym back home in Jacksonville, Florida called Elevate MMA. So
Cool.
I'm constantly coaching fighters. I play manager for a bunch of amateurs and pros in the regional scene. So I'm around it all the time. I'm coaching all the time. So I live a pretty active lifestyle.
How difficult is it to have all of those hats, and then now you're in fight camp? Now it's you. It's got to be you, but you have all these other responsibilities as well.
I've gotten used to juggling it, but also this week, and I've made it a point. I'm being selfish. If I want to do something, I'm doing it. Like these guys are very great corners because they understand that. So they're letting me set the schedule. They're there whenever I need them. I'm saying, hey, I need you here at the hotel in 10 minutes. They're there. So I'm just taking more of the selfish approach just for these 5 days until the fight's over, and then I'll be back to helping everybody else, being the people pleaser that I am.
What do you guys do for relaxation? Do you fish at all? Do you play golf?
It's spent inside of the gym. So whenever I'm not on the gym, it's usually a Sunday, and I spend that day just laying in bed watching the football games.
You think I could get maybe you guys to drive to? We'll get all your info. We'll get it set up. I'll get you on the boat.
I don't know what to do that.
Well, ask Navi. When you go outside, ask Navi.
Yes, sir.
She'll tell you. My son's father-in-law is the head fishing captain at Disney World. We've sent SAP out there. We've sent a bunch of people. So, or you can come to Tampa. We'll take you bow fishing, shark fishing.
Is that where you're at?
Yeah, we're out of Tampa, St. Pete.
Okay.
So that's how I knew the whole Duval.
Listen. While I've got two Floridians in front of me, tornadoes in Fort Lauderdale, aliens in Miami. What's going on in Florida?
As long as it stays out of Tampa Bay, I don't care.
I mean, Southern Florida, but
I don't watch the news, so the only thing I see of that is on Instagram. So I'm seeing like storms and everything else, which it doesn't surprise me. It's Florida weather. He knows Florida weather.
Oh, yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Listen, anything like it.
Oh no, it's brutal.
8-foot aliens walking around Miami, apparently.
The hurricane that hit Cape Coral and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's definitely brutal. Well, we appreciate you stopping by.
I appreciate you guys.
We're going to hit a break. We're going to get your address. We're going to send you a care package. All you guys. Well, maybe not the Army guy, but everybody else. Some swag from 8 Man Strong, and we'll send you some stuff from Bucked Up Energy Drink as well. And then, no, I'm serious. And like I said, you can vouch, get Navi to vouch. If you can get to Orlando, it's such a long drive for you guys. I know. I'm sure you're going to stop off at Buc-ee's one way or the other, whether it's two
For
or
sure.
both, or both.
Especially after the fight. That's what I should have said. If there was a Buc-ee's nearby, that's where I would be going.
Yeah.
Those brisket sandwiches.
I was just going to say, I'm sure you've had the brisket. It's unbelievable. All right, let's hit the top of the hour. When we return, more shenanigans and more UFC fighters as we come to you live, as we always do from the Apex. This is Knockout Radio, brought to you by 8 Man Strong, Staff Zone, Bucked Up Energy Drink, and Bio Accelerator.